I guess the first order of business is the election of officers for the coming year. We had postponed it from last time.
Okay,
Are there some nominations?
yeah, Burl, are you willing to do the chairman,
I'm sorry.
president of the board? It's Evelyn, I nominate, you, Burl, as, the president of our Board of Economic Development.
Second.
Uh, Any other nominations? Are all those in favor?
Aye.
Uh,
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Next is the approval of the December minutes.
Carol,
Yes,
we should probably elect our vice chair and our secretary as well before we move on.
all right. Can we have a nomination for the vice chairman?
cool.
So Justin is currently serving as vice chair, just to remind some of the newer members.
And can he continue?
Yeah, if he
Okay.
wants to, he can.
Okay, well then I will, nominate Justin.
I second that.
Second? Right. All those in favor of Justin as the vice chair?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, congratulations, Justin.
Thank you.
And who else do we need, Rena?
Our secretary, and Evelyn has been capably serving for a number of years, so it's
Yeah.
she's
All right,
I'd like to nominate Evelyn for secretary.
I second.
Thank you.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Evelyn, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and the next item of business is the minutes of the December meeting.
A motion to approve the minutes.
Who was that Fred?
Justin.
Justin, I will second the motion.
So Justin moved, or Justin seconded, okay. So are there any other corrections or omissions? If not, we'll accept the minutes as we have them. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're all set with that. And now I don't have anything in particular to report from the chairman's seat, except that I am very glad that I was able to get on the meeting. I'm not really, I'm a kind of a technological dinosaur.
No worries.
I'm gonna say good night to everybody and sign off because I do have to go to that other meeting. Thank you very much for all you guys do, and Happy New Year again to everybody. See you soon.
later.
Thank you.
Beryl, before we move on in the agenda, I think this would be a good point to introduce our new member,
Yes.
and give her a chance to kind of introduce herself to the other people here.
Okay, I'd like to introduce our newest member, Pat Borgeson. And Pat, would you tell us and others a little bit about yourself?
You're on mute, Pat. There you go.
Thank you. Yes, hi. I've lived in Trumbull now for 35, maybe even 35 plus years. Kids went to school here. I worked for many years in the New Haven area in development. I'm retired now for many years and I've become active in the community. I've been interested for quite a while in the work that the excuse me, Economic and Community Development Commission does. And I think it's really a critical commission for the town, supporting our businesses, making sure that our residents take advantage of all the resources that are here in our community, and making our businesses feel welcome. So I'm very excited to be a member and look forward to participating.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You're
Lucky
welcome.
to have you.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Now,
I
Rena, are
do-
you ready to move forward now with your?
Yes, I just wanted to mention, before Vicky got off, I know that she's working on some other, they're working on some other folks for the commission. So hopefully in our next meeting, we'll have some additional members for our commission. I know that they have mentioned that they're working hard at that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's great. So just moving into our director's report, we had a very busy month of December in economic and community development. Many things that had been in the works for a number of years kind of had had positive movement in our economic development world. So I wanted to highlight first three things that happened. We had 3 closings on real estate projects since our no, one was right before our December meeting. The other 2 were right after. So those of you might remember that we had, I think I had mentioned in November meeting, but if I didn't, I'm mentioning it now again anyway, that Henkel Corporation has chose to expand again here in Trumbull. They have purchased an additional building. For those folks who remember, they have 2 buildings in Trumbull already. One on Spring Hill, and that was the former Sun Products, when they acquired Sun Products, that building, and that has a lot of their R&D on the laundry side there. They then acquired 4 Trefoil Drive in, I want to say around 2018, just before, I think just when Vicky was coming in, they had acquired it and they were opening, or they had leased it and they were opening that building, I think in 2018, January. They fit that out. There's labs in there, there's R&D in there, variety of things in there. They have other locations here in the state, and they were assessing what they were going to do going forward. They knew they wanted to not consolidate, or bring together certain their beauty line together. They wanted to put them in a space together. So they had some folks in Darien, and they have folks in Stanford, as you probably know. So they are moving folks from Stanford and Darien to the new Trumbull campus at 9 Trefoil Drive. That is a roughly 40,000 square foot building. They have acquired it. The closing was at the end of November. They are in the process of finalizing all their engineering documents. They have all their approvals through planning and zoning. That went on the last few months, and they'll be coming in for their permits and getting their construction underway. This is a major investment, is a very expensive, not just purchase, positive to our grand list because they purchased above what we have the building valued at currently. They're also going to invest a large amount of money to fit out the building to their needs, and then the personal property, for the R&D laboratories, those kinds of things is very robust for Trumbull as well. So, and there are new jobs coming to town. So it's a great opportunity for Trumbull to expand their R&D and their corporate presence. We're excited about that, their build out of their campus. And you'll be hearing more on this in the coming months in terms of how it's going. So that's Henkel. Also in December, you remember that back in May of last year, the town council voted to support a tax package for Cubtech. Now, I want to remind everybody that that tax package does not reduce existing taxes. It does not do that. What it does is it puts a freeze for a period of time on the incremental tax value growth. And then in the second 10 years, the growth is discounted over the next 10 years. So it's frozen for 10 years and then it's discounted for the next 10 years. So it is the longest term that we've done since I've been here. We really haven't done very many abatements. It does not reduce existing taxes. It discounts the tax growth over time. That allows the company to invest in the building, build it out, to bring more jobs, to invest in their company. This is a R&D manufacturing technology company. They're taking the entirety of 75 Merritt Boulevard. They're already working to get their permit information together. They expect over the next year to build out the first parts of their new space. The last section, the upper floors, they're probably going to do over time, but they're going to do the first and second floor in the near term and get their staff moved over from Stratford. So they're moving from Stratford, Connecticut to Trumbull, to our Trumbull Corporate Park. We're very excited. We've worked very closely with them. Both of these projects have been in the works for, well, the Cubtech for at least 1.5 years, almost 2 years, and the Henkel project for over 2 years. That's how long things take, to move through. We've been working with them, our staff's been working with them, and as you've heard, in the case of Cubtech, our town council has been working as well with them. So we're very excited to expand our corporate base with these two companies here in town, and you'll hear more about how that's going in the coming months. Also in December, we had a closing, and while it's not the sexiest project, it's probably one of my favorites, 6 Cambridge Drive, which was the most derelict building in all of town, probably one of the more derelict buildings in the region. It had been fallen into terrible disrepair. It was an attractive nuisance, or I should call it an attractive nuisance. My favorite line is always that it was a place for negative thrill-seeking behavior. So it was awful. The building was deteriorated, uninhabitable, basically. We had tried to put together 2 deals. We approved it for a storage facility project. It did get all planning and zoning approvals, but the 2 deals we were working on, one was under contract and one was just about out of contract, fell out of contract, and just the numbers weren't working, the interest rate environment and other things. So finally, a third company came. They were able to work with the owner to get a little bit of a break on the price, which helped. And then they worked with our staffs and their engineering teams to cost engineer the project. And with all of that, they were able to get a deal that they feel works. They closed on the property in December. The reason it's not even that they want it to move immediately, we're still waiting for our under the wire permit for Eversource. We're pushing on that. State Representative Sarah Kitt and State Senator Sujata Gadkar-Wilcox are helping us with Eversource because it just takes forever to get an approval through them. And we are having some conversations about what that does for economic development when it takes 6 months to get a wire permit. So hold on, my mother, oh geez. Okay, so that is moving through the process. We need that permit in order to do the environmental cleanup. It's not a big environmental cleanup. It's maybe $100,000 cleanup, but you have to have that done, and then you can apply for your demolition permits. Well, we already have everything ready for the demolition permits, but then we can proceed with the demolition of the existing building, and then from there, the construction of the new facility. I can tell you, I've spoke to 2 of the property owners adjacent to this. They are thrilled. They cannot wait. This was dragging down their properties. So While it's not, again, the sexiest project in the world, it's a great amenity. Trumbull is under market in terms of meaning storage facilities and that kind of thing. Like some communities have too much of it. We really, if you look at the numbers that they produced for you, we're actually under. So we have plenty of room for these projects. And I think they will support the apartments, they will support our businesses in town, particularly our small businesses who put, many of them, these, independent businesses, pharmaceutical reps, those kinds of things rent these storage boxes. And then, of course, people like me who have extra junk that has to go somewhere, so I think it'll be a great project. It'll clean that whole corner up. So those three closings and deals are done. They should be moving now to construction. We also have a couple of new business things in Trumbull Center that I want to make you aware of. Many of you came to the ribbon cutting for the quick pack and ship. Very well attended by our representation in town. Dan Onofrio, our chair of the Bridgeport Regional Business Council, and Fred, our Trumbull Chamber chair, helped to, facilitate getting some of their folks out. We had a wonderful crowd. It was a great celebration. What was really nice to see was some of the adjacent businesses, like the Quest Lab folks and other people, actually came out to support them. That's very nice to see. So it went along very nicely, and the business owner is thrilled to be there. And people are very much welcoming that business into the community, and see it as a great amenity that people had missed since the previous UPS store some years ago closed.
Mm.
So that's great. We also, the two retail locations that are between CVS and Starbucks will become one retail location, a 4,000 plus square foot location for a restaurant business called Wonder, Wonder, like Wonder Bread, but Wonder. That, I think it's Wonder, or is it WU? Did they spell it? I think it's WO, right, on their sign. I don't know if they played it. But
Yeah.
anyway, so they're going to take both of those spots, and it's a unique kind of model. There's one in Fairfield. There's some others in the area, and they basically do have some tables. I think there are 12 tables or maybe 20. It's either 12 or 20 tables planned for the area, for the location. But a lot of it is takeout, and then the back of the area is all prep area, because what they do is they bring in, you can order food from other restaurants through them and from other providers of food, pre-prepped and stuff from them, and takeouts and things like that. So it's just a unique kind of model. You can go on their website and read up about it. But they'll be taking a large piece of that plaza, and that plaza will be full. They've already had their permits issued to them. So they are, and from what I spoke with Bob Dunn, who's our head of building today, he said their plans came in very, very well done. So, things were going smoothly with that. So that is a great addition to town, and a great, achievement that Peace Plaza is finally full after a number of years.
Hmm.
We also have,
Excuse me, what's the actual name of the place again?
it's Wonder.
Wonder?
Gee, can you
What?
look up quick the spelling? I think it's WONDR,
I'll double check.
like
It is.
wonderful.
It's WONDER.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah. And it's there, like I said, there's one in Fairfield. If you're ever buzzing through there, you can pop in,
Mhm.
check it out. So, gee, have you ever been to one? Because I know.
No, but I have seen similar models through like DoorDash and things like that, where the restaurant doesn't necessarily have a brick and mortar spot, but they're able to create the food through other.
They have them all over New York City.
Hmm.
And they'll just have different, sometimes it's different restaurants that then have to go like formatted items that they sell at the Wonder.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
that's coming, you know, in the next few months. They have to build out the space and they're already, like I said, under permits, so they're gonna get moving. So we're excited about that. Some of you may have seen also in Trumbull Center that the former Fatty Patties is under construction. If folks have been by there. Everett, who owns Trumbull Cafe and Grill, is opening a second restaurant there. It will be open in the evening. The similar types of ethnic cuisine that he's providing in his other locations. I think it's going to be great, and I'm very excited about it. He is going to keep his other restaurant in Trumbull Center open. So he will have the location where the lunch and breakfast spot is. Some of you have been there to the Trumbull Cafe and Grill, and if you haven't, you should be there. It's delicious. There's a line out there every day. And this is his sort of next growth here to have this other restaurant in Trumbull Center. So I think it'd be a great addition to Trumbull Center. We are still, I tried to get an update today. There is someone very seriously considering the former Emma space. I can't confirm if their lease got signed because I haven't spoken to Eileen since I got back from the break. I am waiting to hear back from her. I sent her an email today to see if the lease was actually signed. So that is a strong, strong possibility that that spot gets filled up soon too, which is great. So in the meantime, on the other side of the plaza, you may have heard that the Asian restaurant that's been there for a long time is closing. That was a decision that, you know, was made for them. So they're closing, and Berugers is going to be closing as well down the line. So those two those two locations are closing, but we are on the other side of the plaza adding a number of businesses. So that's kind of my Trumbull Center update at the moment. I'm going to pause there for a second because we talked about, you know, some corporate things, the storage, the new businesses that are coming. Does anybody have any questions before I completely sort of shift gears?
Well, I just wanted to make a remark that if anybody is interested, as far as Cup Tech is concerned, to watch the town council meeting, I think it was April or May, and you can hear the inspiring story of the family, and they have a long-term vision. So I think it's worth a watch if you haven't gotten a chance.
That's a great, great comment, Justin. And I think it was May 5th. Don't quote me, but I think it was. I spoke with the press last week and this week. Vicki and I spoke with our new press contact. I want to say it was the end of last week. No, it couldn't have been the end of last week because we were off. So it was sometime in the last week or so, week or two. And we went over these three, the Cub Tech, the Henkel, and the Cambridge closings. I haven't seen the press coverage yet. If anybody sees it, can you let me know?
Mhm.
I also spoke with Harriet from the Hartford Business Journal today. She's doing a follow-up article on Cub Tech as well. They did a very brief article that was, no, they did that on, I'm sorry, she did that on Henkel. So they didn't do, so she's doing a second Cub Tech article. She had covered Cub Tech when the agreement went through back, I think it was May 5th, something like that, of last year. So she's going to do a follow-up article as well. She told me this morning. So if you guys can help me watch the press coverage, because I've been missing things. I know Gia and I try to keep a pretty tight handle on it, but all of our press people have been changing and shifting, and when that happens, things start, you know, we don't have all our systems down as tight. Like they'll usually let us know when something's coming. So when an article is going to come out or something, but it's been a little bit loose. So hopefully we'll tighten that down. But we had a lovely conversation with our new person and he seems excellent. So I think he's very eager and I think he'll be great. Dan, for you to know, Onofrio, he's also going to be covering other towns in the area, including Stratford. So I told him I'd make a connection with Karen Kaufman and him in Stratford too. And just for you to know, for the Regional Business Council, he'd be a good person if you haven't met with him already. Andreas, I believe is his first name. And we have a media list Gia can share with you. So, okay, so any other questions or comments before I go into a few not new things, but other things? So that was sort of our brief business update. I want to sort of jump into something that's not quite the community development. It's more related to the mall. Vicky and I had met with the new marketing director at the mall. They've hired a full-time person, which is really great because for years they didn't have somebody. And we met, and they were looking for ways, obviously to bring more positive highlights to the mall, to bring more groups into the mall, to not only display things or do programs or what have you. So we had a really good talk with Paul Sabina, who is their new marketing manager for Centennial, which is the company managing the mall. I followed up with some connections for him to the Nature and Arts Center and the History Society and a couple of other things. And when I was talking with Pat, our newest member, this past week about, kind of things that she was interested in, she was saying how she wanted to kind of help work on bringing more visibility, more sense of community to the mall through bringing more groups in or whatever. So Pat, I'm sure you can add to what I'm saying, but I think that this commission could play a role, or one of its roles might be to be that connecting agency for these outside groups, businesses, and whatever that want to come do stuff at the mall, because it's great community development, it's great for the businesses there, it's great for the foot traffic, great for the sense of community. So I don't know, Pat, do you want to add to our that, or if you don't mind? Your mute is on. I mean, your mute is on. You're on mute.
That's a great summary, but all through this mall study process, it's occurred to me that the more that we can get activities there that, to give you an example, a gymnastics exhibit and the parents come, or a dance recital with the local dance studios, anything like that that brings families to the mall, and where we can use the mall as a performing community space where we can see one another, is going to be good for the mall business. But I think overall it's good for the vibe of the mall because it makes people feel, well, if you can hold that there, it's got to be safe, right? So I think that's something that the commission would have an interest in, identifying groups and finding out what would be required to make it all work.
I actually, something that I've spoken about with some people before is, because we had like a little walking group in the neighborhood where
Yes.
a lot of the moms would get together and walk, but it would always stop when the weather got cold or when daylight savings, when it started to get
Right.
too dark to walk and people were getting home from work and it was already too dark to walk. So we had always thrown out there like, well, what if we just walk around in the mall,
Well, that's really interesting because the seniors, I think, do that through the senior center, and they probably do it in the mornings. But that also came up in the Democratic group that I'm involved in, that maybe we should, have a walking period, couple of days a month or something where people will meet and just walk around the mall. I think all of those efforts would be good because it makes it feel neighborhood-like. And also it's an asset to us because, it's really difficult to walk on the streets when it's icy and the visibility isn't good. You probably don't want to be in a stroller on a street without a sidewalk, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's a fabulous idea.
I just think that the biggest thing is right now with people not going to the mall is the safety. So if there's a way to angle it to make sure people knew, like maybe someone who is in the group walking or whatever it is law enforcement or something that would make people feel safer.
Also, I think if there's a way to coordinate with the security within the mall, saying this is something we want to do, we want to figure out what's the best way to do it so that's attractive to the community, meaning the mall feels a safe place to walk. And maybe it's a time too, maybe it's Monday and Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 or something like that. I don't know, or 5 to 6, something like that. Um, one of the things that's interesting is when the mall, I think, was using its they had a policy where young people under a certain age could not come at certain times
Right.
I
without
think they still
an
have that
adult.
though.
They're not enforcing it though.
No, they're
Okay.
not.
I mean, I think overall, and now with the new management, I don't know what they're, who they're hiring, but I think with the previous
Yes.
owners, the security company or the people they were hiring for security were not effective. So I think that's just always been like the biggest thing. But going to the Sono Mall, one time I went to the Sono Mall and they were doing a Zumba class and it was packed. There were like
Yeah.
maybe there had to have been like at least 50 to 100 people doing Zumba in like one big space. And then they have like things for people with young children, play toddler time and things like that in the mornings, three
Right.
days a week. And so there are things we can do. It's just, again, I think the biggest feedback that I hear from neighbors is that they don't feel that the mall is safe. And then, incidents, it'll start to feel like, people are going back to the mall and then an incident will happen. And then, just this push and pull. So that just might be the biggest thing.
Well, it seems to me that's the first conversation, right? Curity.
So I'm wondering if perhaps a small subcommittee that would take this on. I could help facilitate a meeting with the marketing director and with Chris Powers, who's the manager there, and potentially with security, if that's a part of the agenda for a particular meeting. But I think that and I don't know, Dan, if the chamber is interested in, sort of keeping an eye on this. I know you only have so much bandwidth and you're covering multiple towns, but the mall's huge and it's big to our region. And I think that, if we can get just some of this going, just exactly what you're talking about, and someone take this, a small group take this on and start to, schedule things, plan things, get groups in there, I think it can really have meaningful impact to the overall sense of community there, sense of safety there, sense of all of that.
Mm.
So I don't know if I don't want to nominate people, but I know Pat has an interest from our talk
I do
lately.
have an interest, yeah.
You seem
I'll
interested.
help you with that from the chamber perspective, Pat.
Okay, that's really helpful.
And I'm willing to help as well. I don't know what I could do, but I'll certainly start with you and see where I might fit in.
Well, it sounds like a committee.
Yeah, same. I feel the same. I can help as needed. So
That sounds great.
All right, so what
It sounds
Pat,
like
you want to follow if you want to start with me and I'll get you
Yes.
connected and you can maybe get a group
Mm-hmm.
conversation together. And there's no reason it couldn't be done on Zoom just to get started and introduced to one another. If
Right.
you want to do it that way and then go from there, or you can meet over there. I could get a space allocated for you to meet over there.
And I'll circulate the most up-to-date contact list for our commission tomorrow as
That's
well, just so
helpful.
everybody has each other's contact.
Okay.
Thank you.
okay.
All right,
Sounds-
so
Sounds like a plan.
yeah, I love that idea because that helps. There's going to be a lot of other things happening in and around the mall, but to the degree that this can be one focus of this commission, I think that's huge. And I know next meeting, Beryl, I'll be talking to you before the meeting, but usually we set sort of an annual goals. They're very general goals for the commission, but they're focus areas for the commission, and this could be one of them added to our 2026 goals.
All right, that sounds good.
Um, a couple of other things on the community development side to be aware of. There are two projects that are returning to planning and zoning in January. They were there last month as well. One is the housing development. It's 48 units on Reservoir Avenue. That'll be at the meeting in January, third Wednesday of January. And then also the 30G affordable housing application that was introduced in December at the commission meeting is continuing this month in January. Those are two very important community development projects in town. And I think that the commission may want to tune in to hear a little bit about those projects.
Is that the one on Booth Hill?
No,
Oh,
Oh, okay.
No,
Plum Tree Road.
that's no, not Plum Tree.
Oh.
These are, both of these are on Reservoir Avenue.
Oh, okay.
You're right that there is a project in the Wetlands Commission for Plum Tree Road. That's in wetlands still. It hasn't gotten over to planning and zoning. And the Unity Road, Booth Hill Road, that may be coming back in the next few months. They had been turned down by the commission, and the commission had given them some guidance about how they might want to change what they were proposing. So it's my sense that they'll probably resurface in the next couple of months on that. But right now, that they are not, that particular project, Unity in Booth Hill, is not at the commission.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So event updates, we're still, we've given out all of our certificates very quickly for our Main Street Dollars program. We know folks are using them because we've heard from a number of people that are using the actual certificates and so forth. So the program ends on January 31st. And that'll be the last day people can use their certificates. So if you know of anybody who has certificates, please encourage them to use them. We don't like when they go unused. So we don't have any other events on the calendar right this moment. We are going to host a Fairfield County Broker Network meeting in the spring. You'll hear more about that. We have that on the calendar. And I shared with Gia this morning, and you know what, Gia will share with the commission a great article that I came across from a gentleman that I met some years ago in economic development. In fact, some of you might remember, Evelyn might remember, I think she was here on the commission, that I brought a guy, his name is Jason. Now his last name is Broadband. Here, he was very innovative. He was talking about placemaking and things like that back it had to be about 10 years ago that he spoke, maybe 9 years. And I've kept in touch with him, and he shared with me today an article on, just a very thoughtful article on that he had written on economic development and stuff. And I'm going to share it with the commission. I think it's really, really interesting. And I think we should share it with Dan too. And Afrio, Dan, you might want to share it with your economic development subgroup. And I'm considering bringing him back to speak. I have to reach out to him and talk to him whether it would be a potential speaker for not next year's because it's this year. What am I saying?
Right.
This year's annual breakfast, or maybe we bring them back for another event because sometimes we'll do a second signature event. So to be continued, but first we'll share the article, and I'd be interested after you read it in your feedback on that article.
It's Jason Broadwater.
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 Yeah. Do you remember him, Evelyn?
I do remember the name, yes.
Yeah. So he was like, when he came to the year he came to speak, people were like blown away. He's really, really forward thinking, very articulate. So I just thought we've been really leaning toward sort of economists and stuff the last few years as our speakers. I think it would be a nice switch up to get back to sort of an economic development thought person for this year. So I think that's kind of where we'll probably be going. And you'll see the article, and then we can discuss how appropriate or not appropriate we feel he is for this. So that was kind of what I had on my list right now to point out to you. There's a lot of other stuff going on. We have massive amounts of things happening. I mean, we have, I expect the 12 Cambridge project to get moving this year. I expect some other development projects that have been stalled that I told you to definitely get moving this year. We're going to see a busy year in economic development. There will be commercial development projects, mixed use projects, and some housing community development projects. But I'm sure we will see some straight commercial development and significant mixed-use projects get underway. So it's going to be a really, really busy year. So I'm excited about it. Does anybody have any other questions for me at this time?
No, I would like to just mention that Beta Jewel. I sent a few people over there and they were very impressed. And anyone that hasn't gone over should. I think, they'll do very well.
It's cute.
It's
I got a
cute.
couple gifts from there actually.
Yes.
And the way they packaged the gift up too, people really liked it.
Yeah.
So I hope they do well. It's a little, they have to really do their marketing too.
Yes.
So and you're reminding me to check back in with them because I haven't been there since before the holidays.
The article I thought was really nice.
Yeah, she did a nice job.
Right.
Or-
Rena, what is the name of the new reporter who replaced Shanice?
Have it. I don't have I didn't bring my media list home. I'll get it to you. Where's my phone? I probably have it here. Hold on.
Okay. Rena,
Andres Yilma. Andreas Yilma.
is that
It's
a male or a female?
male.
A male.
Andreas Yilma with a Y-I-L-M-A is the last name, and Andreas Yilma.
Okay.
So that's our new contact. I was very impressed with him. He's very eager. So it was great that we were able to connect. We had a nice long talk. It was very, very good. And we've committed to talking every couple of weeks and just catching up on topics. And I mean, I told him I normally keep a list and I'll call if I don't hear from them. But he said he'll be touching base too. So it's great. And he really covers more economic and community development projects. So I don't know who's handling regular municipal issues at this time since Shanice is no longer. So, but he's more on the economic and community development side.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions for me?
No, I think you've covered a lot. Can we move to the update from the BRBC?
Yes.
Okay, Fred or Dan?
Dan, it's all yours.
Thanks, Fred. I appreciate it. Thanks, Beryl. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope you all had a great holiday season. Pat, welcome to the commission. You're among some very high quality people that I have a lot of respect for with this commission. They really truly love Trumbull. So Pat, if you're not familiar, but I know everyone else is, so I'm Dan Onofrio. I'm the president and CEO of the Bridgeport Regional Business Council, which the Trumbull Chamber is a part of. And Fred, who's on this commission and a Trumbull resident, as you know, is our chairman. I really just have a couple things I wanted to share with you folks and really ask for your help on the first item. As Fred will probably tell you, we are looking to reinforce our board members for specifically the Trumbull Chamber of Commerce, and really looking for quality business owners or participants in our business community in Trumbull to participate on the Trumbull Chamber. We've got a great group of folks now, but looking just to reinforce and build some succession down the road. I've been in this role for 7 years and it's great. I love everybody that participates, but it's nice to see some new faces periodically and get them vested in the Trumbull business community, and then alternatively, or in addition to, in the greater Bridgeport community as well. So we sent out an email recently to our Trumbull business community, basically inviting them, if anyone was interested on serving on the board, to let us know of their interest. I just put the link in the chat. So if you happen to think of a business owner, large or small, doesn't matter. We need representation across the board. It'd be nice if you could forward this on, or let them know to reach out to either Fred or myself. I'd appreciate it because, we just can't get to everybody. And I know emails can get kind of bogged down in people's inboxes and they're like, "Yeah, I'll get to it later," and they never do. So if you know someone that's in the community that might be interested, I sincerely appreciate your help in identifying some folks that might want to serve on the board and really drive the business conversation in partnership with Rena and Vicky and the town of Trumbull. I think we've got a really good working relationship, and we'd like to continue to evolve that as we move forward. The other thing, Rena mentioned it, there's a lot going on around housing. So the BRBC will be hosting a conversation January 27th at Housatonic Community College with our regional elected officials. So we're going to have a panel discussion on the new housing bill specifically that went into effect. There's a lot of discussion around the benefits or not of the bill to try to address some of the affordability and housing shortages across the state. So I thought it'd be worthwhile for us to have a deeper conversation about what that impact looks like for Greater Bridgeport. Obviously, from the city of Bridgeport's perspective, they have one view, and meanwhile, some of our municipalities that surround Bridgeport, that make up Greater Bridgeport, maybe have a different take on the bill and its impact. So I'll see if I could drag the flyer here into the chat just so you have the information for you. If you're interested in participating. But it is January 27th. The panelists right now are going to be three specific individuals that all are on the housing committee up in Hartford. So State Representative Antonio Felipe, he is co-chair of the housing committee up in Hartford and represents Bridgeport. State Senator Heron Gaston. He is one of the vice chairs of the Housing Committee up in Hartford, and he represents part of Bridgeport as well. And then Tony Scott, State Representative Tony Scott up in Monroe. He was one of the ranking members on the committee. So I thought it'd be a really great discussion to have those three folks, since they were intimately involved in this particular bill and the Housing Committee. And CBIA, our state chamber of commerce, the Connecticut Business Industry Association, Chris Davis, VP of policy, will be moderating the discussion. So should be a really good breakfast again over at Housatonic, and I'll try to see if I can put the flyer in the chat here before we cut out. But you're all invited, and again, if you're interested in the discussion, we'd love to have you there.
Dan, this is very important, and I thank you for extending the invite to us and to the commission. I really think, folks, if you can make it, I know it's difficult to get out, sometimes during the day, but it's very, very important. This housing bill has got so many facets to it, and so I think it would be great. And I think that Tony Scott, for those folks don't know, he's a member of the Trumbull delegation. He has a little piece of Trumbull that he represents. So he's one of our 5 delegation members from Trumbull. I think Pat's hand's up. You're on, yeah.
I raised my hand because I happen to live in Tony Scott's district. And I've read the Connecticut Post article, summary of the bill. And one of the things that I was most interested in, and maybe I'll just write to Tony once I have the details of this program, I would really like to attend. I have a couple of other people who are really interested, but I'd really like to know what was the idea of this sort of regional housing groups that are identified within the bill. And it'd be great if the legislators could address that, or even the process of, excuse me, once the bill is created, then how do you work towards creating these councils and who should be on them, things like that. The devil's in the details. I think it'd be great to hear that kind of information.
Yeah, I think the implementing details and because there's so many facets to the bill, and there's no real details out yet on the implementation, whether it's the implementation policy practices that are going to come in from which departments and what angles. It's really a lot. It's like so I think, Dan, this is great that you're hosting this. I think it's a really great topic and very timely and very helpful.
Yeah, I think, Rena, you've heard me say this before, it's our role to help educate not just the business community, but all the stakeholders that make up our economy and what makes Greater Bridgeport what it is. So we all should have a seat at the table, and I thought it'd be a good conversation to have this because there's a lot of misinformation out there too. I think, there's a bit of education I think we can cover in terms of the history of the bill and how we got to where we are today and seeing what the impact may or may not be for our specific communities.
Okay,
I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
is there any-
Hmm.
anything else, Dan, you'd like to address?
No, I just open invitation for our Trumbull Chamber meetings. If you happen to be around and you want to come, Fred, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's usually the fourth Thursday of the month. It's open invitation. Obviously we try to get as many businesses there as possible. Rena is a regular attendee and probably the highlight of our agenda typically with all this fun stuff that's going on in and around Trumbull. So you're always all welcome to come to those meetings. And if you're not on our email list, because we do a lot of different things outside of, chamber meetings and policy discussions. We do quite a bit around the regional economic development lens and as well as leadership and professional development. We've got a very active women's leadership network. So if you're not on our email list, please let me know. I can add you on, or if you go to our website, brbc.org, you can subscribe there too to get on our email distribution list. I'll put my contact information in the chat too, just so people have it. If you need to get a hold of me for whatever reason, I'm pretty accessible. But that's it, Beryl. Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right, I don't think there's anybody from the community out there. So if any of the members would like to add anything before we close the meeting? Any questions for Rena? If not, can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Justin moved. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, it was Layla.
Mhm.
Thank you. All those in favor?
I
And you have the calendar for the year. So just note those dates.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Great job, Rena. Great job, Daryl.